Ladies, gentlemen, and anybody else that's listening to this podcast, my name is Anthony Walker, that H, that E to the A to the D, and this is episode 28 of the Wrestling Matters Podcast. Welcome, hope you're all well. We're going to talk Monday Night Raw, we're going to talk TNA, we're going to talk SmackDown as well, we're going to talk anything else that is relevant in the world of professional wrestling. Also a little title for you to get your heads round and give you something to think about. CM Punk going to TNA, more on that later on. Now, I'm going to start off this podcast, before I get to the Raw points, with a little something from Ring of Honor. Now, Michael Elgin, former Ring of Honor World Champion, told Ring of Honor this past week on Twitter that he quit. I'll read some of the article. Former ROH World Champion Michael Elgin responded to Ring of Honor tweet that stated that he would return at Champions vs All Stars with the following: Ring of Honor, at Ring of Honor, I said it's on this our call. Thank you for getting me back home, but an article doesn't fix lies and damage done. I quit. The live audio also tweeted about the incident, saying that they are being told it's not an angle. Elgin has since changed his Twitter handle to Michael Elgin 25 after being repeatedly asked why it was still formerly ROH Michael Elgin. And I'll read the tweet from Ring of Honor. Michael Elgin returns at #Champions vs All Stars this Saturday night. RingofHonor.com news blah blah blah. Then he responds back saying, I said it on our call. Thank you for getting me back home, but an article doesn't fix lies and damage done. I quit. Michael Elgin tweeted that he's quitting Ring of Honor after being cleared to return to the US. I've been told this isn't an angle. So it's not an angle, and looks like Michael Elgin is no longer a part of Ring of Honor. Question is, where would he go next? Is he done with wrestling? Will he be coming to WWE? Will he be coming to TNA? Or will he be going to any other indie promotions? Hell, I think the British wrestling scene wouldn't mind having him over here in England. But we'll just have to wait and see. But as it says there, Michael Elgin is no longer in Ring of Honor. Former world champion Michael Elgin, to be precise. Right. With that said, I'll talk about all the others that I've got later on in the program, and I'm going to hand you over to the audio now that I recorded again this past week for the Raw review, my Raw review. So instead of me talking about it on here and talking about the main points and basically repeating myself, I thought I'll do the full show, and I've been doing this past couple of weeks. So here you are, here's the audio of me talking about Raw and me giving my Raw review. Hope you enjoy, see you in a bit. Seth Rollins kicked off Monday Night Raw. Yep, Seth Rollins kicked off Monday Night Raw this week, wanting to talk, and by the way, Monday Night Raw was in Brooklyn, New York. He kicked off Raw, Seth Rollins, wanting to talk about last week's incident. The incident involving the briefcase, which was the funniest thing on the show. The green goo and that. And he came down and talked about how embarrassing it was and cut a promo on it and did his all the usual stuff. That was until the Cruiserweight division showed up. As Dean Ambrose called them, Jamie Noble and Joey Mercury came down, wanting him to come back. I'm guessing Triple H and Stephanie sent them, wanting them to come back because they realized Seth Rollins was a marked man. Oh, was that true? As Seth Rollins ignored them and continued on with his promo, out of nowhere, John Cena shows up and attempts to beat the living crap out of Seth Rollins. Although he did on occasion, Seth Rollins got away. Seth Rollins got away, ran into the crowd, and started mocking Cena from the crowd. And as he did that, he looked to his right. Dean Ambrose was there, and Dean Ambrose proceeded to beat the piss out of him. Again, Seth Rollins got away, but as he got away, he walked right into Cena. Cena grabbed out of him, flipped him over the barricade, started beating him up, and then Dean Ambrose, the crazy motherfucker that he is, jumps off the barricade and takes out both Cena and Rollins. And then Rollins manages to get away, and then Triple H and Stephanie come out and book a match between Dean Ambrose and John Cena versus The Authority, Rollins, Kane and Orton. Same shit, different day, or different week, in my opinion. But, yeah. Good way to kick off Raw. A predictable match next. An okay match to kick off the matches on Raw. Intercontinental Champion Dolph Ziggler and the Usos, versus Tag Champs Goldust and Stardust and Cesaro. Now, it was an okay match, a good way to kick off the Monday Night Raw show. Not very good. Continue going back to last week, because I thought last week's match was better with Cesaro, Ziggler, and The Miz, but that's just me. That would be a better way to kick off Raw, a match like that, or a match of that caliber. But yeah, it was a predictable match. The Usos get the pin by doing their splash move that they do, the top rope splash. But we all know where this is heading. At some point, the Usos are going to get a title shot over again. You know, their rematch against another rematch, if you will, against Goldust and Stardust. And Cesaro and Ziggler are going to battle it out for the Intercontinental Championship, which to me is fucking interesting itself. And yeah, that would be a great match in itself. Cesaro and Dolph Ziggler, this time without The Miz. So yeah, I'm guessing all these matches will probably take place at Hell in a Cell October 26th. Now, Katie Lee and Honda's were guests on Monday Night Raw, came out, and lo and behold, they were partying with Adam Rose. And yes, Adam Rose's entourage was there, the Rosebuds, including that damn bunny. Yeah, wow. Nothing to say about this, but that pretty much says it all. Now, before I go on to the next match, I just want to say, look out for the Bray Wyatt promo on there. If you haven't seen Raw, if you've seen Raw and you want to go back and watch it. Last week's promo consisted of Luke Harper, and again, it was all about Luke Harper again, and I think there was one later on in the evening about Eric Rowan also. God knows what they're doing with Eric Rowan, but apparently Luke Harper's going solo. That would be interesting in itself, but why break up the Wyatts? You know, and there's all this talk about Bray Wyatt doing a babyface run. Don't get me wrong, I don't mind that, because at the end of the day, Bray Wyatt's over. You can put him heel, you can put him babyface, he'll still be over. But I think he's more better as a heel at the moment. If you want to give him a babyface run, give him it somewhere down the road. Don't give him it now. Be interested to see how it pans out, but hey, this is WWE we're talking about. You know, booking, logic, bad booking, you know, could happen. Next match, oh Jesus Christ. He manages to get back, you know, from his whooping that he got from Mark Henry after beating Mark Henry last week. Bo Dallas again defeats Mark Henry, this time by a count out. Now, Mark Henry was about that close from doing the World's Strongest Slam. I don't know if it was going to be on the announce table, probably be more better, or the arena floor, but Bo Dallas manages to get away and get a count out victory. I fucking hate Bo Dallas. I really do. I despise him so much, it's not even funny. The Bodog, which is Stratus faction. How could this guy be taken seriously, man? That's what I want to know. I just don't like the guy. Should have just kept him on NXT. And it's funny how he wins the NXT title on NXT, and WWE bring him up and that. Then again, they had CM Punk way back in the day, who they put on OVW because they didn't know what to do with him. And it took the ECW, the revamped ECW, which was led by Paul Heyman at the time. It took that for him to come up to the WWE main roster, so to speak, even though it was on the ECW brand. Fuck me, WWE, I tell you. They seriously don't know their talent or how to book talent. I think they need teaching. I think they need some lessons in that, to be honest with you, but hey, that's just my view. Dean Ambrose came out and called out basically John Cena, and kind of promo on each other, saying that they didn't like each other. We all knew that. They had a common goal, and that was to get a piece of Rollins. And during the handicap match later on, and quite frankly, Dean Ambrose said he couldn't give a crap about John Cena, and Dean Ambrose walked away from John Cena and ditched him. Got on this subway train, got on a train and went back to wherever the heck he was going. Because, and it went from the handicap match to John Cena versus The Authority. I love Dean Ambrose. Crazy motherfucker. Absolute lunatic. Brie Bella. More Total Divas bullshit. I said this, Kenny said this on Sunday Segue. Leave Total Divas as it is. A show. Okay? Don't have it anything to do with the WWE, because let's face it, Total Divas is the building block for the WWE Divas division. It's the promotion burial, so to speak. That's why Total Divas is there. And I feel sorry for anybody who's in the Divas division, because apparently, from what I've been told, if you're on Total Divas, you can't win the title. Because apparently the network, or whatever the fuck this show's on, or the people who run Total Divas don't want any Divas to be champion who's on the show. So basically, if you're on that show, your career is over, so to speak. And God help the NXT girls if they come up and end up on that show. And if they're listening right now, stay away from it. Okay, because you're not going to be champion. Charlotte's already mentioned it quite clear that the NXT Women's Champion, she wants to be the Divas Champion. She wants a piece of AJ Lee, so that's made it quite clear. And this thing between Brie Bella and Nikki Bella is just turned into, I mean, thank God they're doing a respectable feud, or finding some way to use them and to make this feud. But let's face it, Brie Bella is getting the same treatment that Nikki got after Brie slapped Stephanie at Payback and quit. Because that would have been because all the handicap matches that Nikki was in, that would have been Brie. But Brie quit. So where do you go to next? Nikki. And that's why Nikki's turned heel and blah 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 blah. But yeah, more Total Divas bullshit. And I'm not going to make it any clear. I hate Total Divas. Jack Swagger beats Tyson Kidd with the Patriot Lock, and he catches Tyson Kidd in midair and gets the Patriot Lock on him. It's nice to see Tyson Kidd on Raw. Granted, he ain't going to beat Jack Swagger, because Jack Swagger's got too much momentum on him. My guess is Jack Swagger's a babyface now because of Wade Barrett. That's another issue for another day, though. But this thing between Natalya and Tyson Kidd, I mean, these two are supposed to be married, but at the rate it's going right now, again, Total Divas bullshit, it looks like they're heading for divorce. That's what it is. I hope not, but that's what it looks like. I just wish they'd use Tyson Kidd a little bit more better, as well as Natalya. I mean, Natalya, in my opinion, should be Divas Champion. But it's, again, WWE booking it, it's blatant best. But a good little match, and Jack Swagger got the win. I'm not going to talk about much the next one. His attitude remains strong as a Superman punch. Roman Reigns, that is. He did an interview via satellite. Hasn't made it clear when he's going to come back, but sooner or later the Roman Empire will resume its dominance. My question is, when this guy does come back, will he get his match, or his proposed match, if you will, against Triple H? Because he's already faced Randy Orton. He's already had the feud with Randy Orton. Will he get a match with Triple H? We have to wait and see, but we'll have to wait until he comes back. I still believe that this, where he's at right now, don't get me wrong, surgeries are serious, they couldn't be more serious, but I still believe that this was just a way to get him out, to bring Ambrose back in. That's just my opinion, but like I said, I'm not taking anything away if you have surgery or anything like that, because surgery is surgery, and surgery is a serious thing. Now, The next match after that, I guess we're going back to the midgets. Oh, for fuck's sake. El Torito versus Minigator. Minigator dressed up as Hornswoggle. I'm not even going to talk about this. I'll let you guys see for yourself. I refuse to talk about this. And it's bullshit like this that makes you realise, and makes you wonder why I talk about main points of Raw, SmackDown and TNA or Impact Wrestling on my podcast, because of bullshit like this, because I refuse to talk about it. It sucks. God almighty. Anyway, Rusev came out with Lana to talk about what happened with Big Show and the whole Russian flag and the apology on SmackDown. They came out to respond, and lo and behold, as they called out Big Show didn't show up, even though he was backstage under some sort of guidance or course or whatever the fuck they had him on. Big Show didn't come out. The Rock did. And proceeded to get in the face of the big bad Rusev and owning Lana too. Go back and watch it if you can, saying that Lana was gorgeous, but she looked like a streetwalker, so to speak. All the mocks, good shit, funny stuff, and basically owning Rusev, saying he looked like Chewbacca. Anyway, he had breath like Chewbacca. And then proceeded to beat the living crap out of him, smacking him in and defending America, in a way. And The Rock standing tall over the Rusev. Rock versus Rusev. Moving on. Oh, God. Divas match. Now, it seems, from what I gathered, with the Total Divas cast not being able to win the championship, there were 4 divas in this match that could win the championship. Paige, Alicia Fox, probably the reason why they're not on Total Divas, because they won the title. AJ Lee, and it was them two, Paige and Alicia Fox, by the way, versus AJ Lee, and God help us, Santino Marella's old sidekick, Emma, the Pied Piper of Flowing Bubbles. Just when things couldn't get any worse. But the match took place, and it got to a point where Emma, I think, tried to steal the spotlight from AJ Lee, or wouldn't tag in AJ Lee, and AJ walked away and left Emma in the lurch. Probably the best thing AJ could do. Because I can't stand Emma. I don't get Emma. Emma to me is like Bo Dallas. I can't take seriously. And don't get me wrong, Emma is what it is. It's nothing personal. It's just an opinion. I don't like you. I don't like your character. You're probably a sweetheart outside the ring, but this thing, and I don't fucking get it. And thank God AJ Lee ended that match with the way she did, and Paige got the victory over you. And like Kenny said on Sunday Segue, I'm done with this Paige and AJ feud. The sooner it's over, the better. Now, Sheamus faces The Miz rather, and try to see what happened with Mizdow last week, and Sheamus literally kicking his head off. Apparently there's been some beef between The Miz and Sheamus, and The Miz actually beat Sheamus to get the 1, 2, 3, and probably a US title shot, since he can't get in a kind of title shot anymore. So now they've basically demoted him back to the US title. And Sheamus didn't take it too kindly and proceeded to grab a chair and chase Miz and Sandow, I refuse to call him Mizdow, back to the locker room. I think the moneymaker, the king of the moneymaker, and the Rock wannabe, so to speak, as I call him, Rock entrance and all that, I think it's safe to say that he's pissed off he's pissed off an Irishman. And this was orchestrated punishment for Miz's insolence against the authority by, guess who? Corporate King. Corporate Brown knows it. But yeah, no doubt Miz will probably get a US title shot at some point. Probably, what to call it? A Hell in a Cell up to October 26th. The next part was Susan G. Coleman thing. Joan London addressing the WWE Universe, and then Cena comes out and hugs her. It's about this Susan G. Coleman cancer thing. Not much to talk about. You know, it is what it is, and it's the charity the WWE work for. John Cena defeats Randy Orton, Seth Rollins, and Kane via DQ. Now, obviously there was a beatdown going on, but as the match was taking place and Orton was about to RKO John Cena, out of nowhere the Psycho returns. That's right, the Lunatic Fringe, with a hot dog carrot. Them hot dog cart things. Brings it down to ringside. Orton and Kane go after him, and Orton and Kane get sprayed by mustard and tomato ketchup by Ambrose, and then Ambrose proceeds to ram the hot dog cart right back in to Orton and Kane, and then goes in and starts beating the crap out of Rollins. Well, he's attempting to. Pretty lackluster main event to have, but I could understand why. And yeah, it was what it was. And the rumours were true. Apparently WWE have decided to go with John Cena versus Ambrose, Hell in a Cell, with the winner going into a Hell in a Cell match with Seth Rollins. Now, I love John. If Dean Ambrose doesn't win this, I will not watch that match. A John Cena versus Seth Rollins match. Because everybody wants Dean Ambrose to win. Everybody wants Seth Rollins versus Dean Ambrose at Hell in a Cell. And there's going to be a lot of pissed off people if that doesn't take place. Maybe give John Cena, Seth Rollins at Survivor Series. But Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins need to be in the Hell in a Cell match. And if this doesn't take place, there's going to be a lot of pissed off people. And that's the end of that. I would give Raw 6. That's my rating this time. Raw is 6. Yeah, but other than that, okay Raw. Not the best, but once again, Ambrose steals the show. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you enjoyed that. That was my Raw results and reviews on certain matches, and without any further ado, ladies and gents, we're going to move on to TNA's main points. And TNA kicked off this week with the It Factor. Bobby Roode says he will not give up on his dream to become the World Heavyweight Champion. Roode calls out Lashley, demanding a direct answer to his challenge for a rematch, but of course MVP and Kenny King answer the call. MVP says Roode doesn't have the right to ask for a rematch and says the answer is no. Roode says MVP and Kenny King are content being lackeys for Lashley, that neither man has what it takes to be the World Heavyweight Champion. MVP says Roode can have his title opportunity if he defeats him and King in a handicap elimination match. MVP's stipulations that if Roode loses, he will never challenge for the world title for the rest of his career. Roode accepts the challenge and the stipulation. Congratulations to Madison Rayne on becoming the #1 contender for the Knockouts Championship. But good luck, because she'll have to face Havoc for it. MVP and Kenny King start with a double team attack, then they circle and mock Bobby Roode. MVP whips Roode into a spin kick from Kenny King. They whip Roode into the ropes, but Roode explodes with a double clothesline. Roode follows up with a knee to MVP's midsection. Roode makes a cover. The count is broken by Kenny King. Roode is tossed from the ring, and King and MVP maintain control. MVP and Kenny King roll Rude into the ring. MVP holds Rude and King attempts to punch him. Rude ducks and King connects with MVP. King rushes towards Bobby Roode, but he has tossed him from the ring. MVP connects with a running boot to the face. While King recovers outside the ring, Rude battles back and scores a surprise pinfall on MVP. MVP is eliminated. King and Rude's battle intensifies, but MVP provides interference and distraction at ringside. Earl Hebner ejects MVP from ringside. Rude takes advantage in the match, but King catches Rude with a jawbreaker. King jumps to the top rope, and as he flies, Rude catches him in midair and connects with a Rude bomb. Lashley comes out of nowhere to attack Bobby Roode. Kenny King is disqualified and Lashley connects with a spear. Bobby Roode is the winner. Will the match happen? We shall see. Question is, it'll be interesting to see where it happens, because it's not going to happen it didn't happen at the pay-per-view Bound for Glory, which is ridiculous. I'll get to that later. Now for the main event of the evening. Full Metal Mayhem. The bell sounds. Full Metal Mayhem is mayhem to start. Taz and Mike Tenay mentioned that Davey Richards suffered a break in his leg, and they question whether or not he'll be 100% in the match. They also note Devon is competing with a tear in his groin. Devon sets up two tables while Bully Ray bounces a chair off Jeff Hardy. Matt Hardy attempts to climb a ladder, but Bully pulls him from the ladder. Bully tries to climb, but he's stopped by Davey Richards. Davey attempts to climb, and Jeff Hardy makes the save. Devon rushes into the ring and drops Hardy. Devon attempts a go, and Matt Hardy pulls him down. Eddie Edwards introduces a chair into the ring, but Matt Hardy counters, sending Eddie Edwards face first into the chair. The Wolves regroup and double team Matt Hardy. Davey Richards drops Matt Hardy neck first into the chair. The Wolves attempt to double team Jeff Hardy. They whip Jeff into the ropes, and Bully takes the moment to send Davey Richards out of the ring. Bully catches Jeff. Then he and Eddie Edwards trade blows. Matt Hardy powers through them both with a clothesline. Bully Ray and Matt Hardy suplex Eddie Edwards. Devon takes a piece of a steel guardrail and creates a bridge between the ring and the steps. Devon attempts to suplex Davey Richards from the ring, but Davey counters with a headbutt. Devon falls back into the guardrail. Davey howls, attempting to climb the turnbuckle. He is going to fly onto Devon, but Bully interrupts. Bully powerbombs Davey out of the ring onto the guardrail bridge. Matt and Jeff double team Bully with a ladder. They attempt to do the same to Eddie Edwards, but Eddie tosses the ladder and it catches Jeff in the face. Devon drops Eddie with a spine buster and he fends off the Hardys. Devon attempts to climb the ladder, but Matt Hardy and Eddie Edwards attack him with chairs. Jeff hits a whisper in the wind, then follows up with a swanton. Jeff nails Bully with a twist of fate just outside the ring. Jeff sets up a table bridge. Metal end up. Jeff bounces Bully's face into the steel steps, and then he drapes Bully over the table. Jeff climbs the turnbuckle and leaps for a leg drop. Bully moves and Jeff crashes through the table. Bully rolls into the ring and starts to climb the ladder. Eddie Edwards positions another ladder and tries to climb, but Bully kicks him off the ladder. Matt Hardy does the same thing. Finally, Matt and Bully and Eddie Edwards all battle at the top of the ladder. Bully and Matt double team Eddie Edwards, sending him crashing to the floor. Matt and Bully punch one another from both, and both fall from the ladder. Davey re-enters the ring and tries to climb the ladder, but Matt Hardy is there to answer his call. Matt sets up a table before sending Davey Richards to the outside. He slams Davey face first into the ring post. Then he lays Davey on the table. Matt climbs a ladder and connects with a leg drop, driving Davey Richards through the table. Devon drives a ladder into the face of Eddie Edwards. He sets up a bigger ladder and starts to climb, but Eddie makes the save. Bully Ray climbs into the ring. Team 3D attempts to double team Eddie Edwards. Devon climbs the turnbuckle, but Jeff shoves Devon from the top rope, and Devon crashes through the two tables on the outside. Eddie Edwards begins to climb the ladder. He almost reaches the tag team championships, but Bully tips the ladder and Eddie Edwards takes a huge fall, crashing through the guardrail. Jeff takes out Bully. Bully gets laid across the two tables on the outside. Jeff climbs to the top of the ladder and Davey Richards pushes closed it over, sending Jeff crashing through Bully Ray through the two tables. Davey Richards and Matt Hardy meet at the top of the ladder. Matt connects with a series of punches. Just as Davey begins to fall, Eddie Edwards makes the save. He powerbombs Matt through a table while Davey retrieves the tag team titles, and the Wolves win this Full Metal Mayhem Classic to retain the World Tag Team Championships. Be interested to see what happens next on TNA this Wednesday, because it'll be the fallout of Impact. Tune in next Sunday, tune in this Sunday to find out in the UK, unless you can watch it before then. SmackDown kicked off this week with, by the way, SmackDown, it was just the 15th anniversary show, and it kicked off with the very first general manager of the brand, Stephanie McMahon. Kicked off the Blue Brand Historics night before being interrupted by, yes, Teddy Long and Clown Shoes himself, John Laurinaitis. Oh boy. The one-time rivals picked up right where they left off, as both men tried to outdo one another by proposing a series of match ideas fitting such a momental, whatever the fuck, night. In the end, the tag team, matchmaking master himself, Teddy Long, eventually came up with an idea for a historic 15-man tag team match featuring Sheamus, Jack Swagger, Mark Henry, the Usos, and Los Matadores, and El Torito versus Damien Sandow, Cesaro, Bo Dallas, Gold and Stardust, Slater Gator, and Mini Gator. Fuck my life. Adam Rose and his Rosebud soon joined the party, only to have one of the principal owners of WWE, Stephanie McMahon, place the leader of the Exotic Express in an impromptu match against Kane. The decision left the partying superstar looking glum, and the three former GMs dancing with glee. After making it clear prior to the contest that he is not a lemon or a rosebud, Kane chokeslammed Adam Rose and handed him his first loss in WWE. WWE's Director of Operation then dismantled the Exotic Express one by one, as a frightened bunny barely hopped away unscathed. Now, I don't like Kane that much, to be honest, but thank you for taking out the Exotic Express. Bet fucking JBL love that, the twat. Team Teddy versus Team Johnny. Good, Bennett. With the former SmackDown General Manager and the WWE Hall of Famer Booker T joining the announce team, at ringside, this momentous 15-man tag team match descended into chaos, resulting in bodies around the ring. Eventually, Sheamus delivered a bro kick to Damien Mizdow, aimed in amongst all the carnage, allowing Team Teddy's Jey Uso to hit the Samoan Splash for victory. As a result, Teddy Long got the last laugh over John Laurinaitis, earning the right to call himself the greatest SmackDown General Manager ever with the victory. Jesus Christ. A special SmackDown 15-year anniversary edition of Miz TV didn't disappoint, as The Miz kicked off his talk show by announcing that John Cena and Dean Ambrose contest at Hell in a Cell will be a contract on a pole match. Despite the Awesome One attempts to instigate a fight between the C Nation leader and the Lunatic Fringe, both superstars worked together to dispose the self-proclaimed Hollywood movie star. After the unstable Ambrose hit a double-arm DDT on the host, the 15-time world champion put an exclamation point on the SmackDown 15th anniversary celebration with an attitude adjustment to an unsuspecting Dean Ambrose. It's revenge for what happened on Raw. It'll be interesting to see what happens on Raw tonight. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to run myself a little promo right now, and I'll be back after this after this short break with my views, opinions in the world of wrestling, and to talk about the one thing that's probably been talked about all over: CM Punk going to TNA. More on that after this.
Be sure to listen to the Sunday Segue Wrestling Podcast.
What?
Every Sunday with Kenny Killer and the Galdem Sugar Shugs.
Yes!
With all the news, views, and laughter that you want.
They like jet airplanes. Woo! They like long limousines.
Every Sunday, the Sunday Segue Wrestling Podcast on Podomatic, iTunes, and YouTube.
So why don't you choke on that, slap nut?
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Anthony Walker, the host of the Wrestling Matters podcast, and you can now check out the Wrestling Matters podcast on youtube.com/HAW Wrestling Matters. You can now go to podomatic.com, iTunes, and now also you can go to a new one. That's right, a new site, Stitcher Radio. That's right, we're on Stitcher Radio right now. I'm on Stitcher Radio right now, and you could be too. Get yourself on there, download their app, the Stitcher Radio app, or the Stitcher app, whatever it is. Make sure you download their app, and you can listen to it on your phone, anywhere you want, at any time you want, at any place you want. That's the Wrestling Matters podcast now on YouTube, iTunes, Podomatic, and Stitcher Radio. Wrestling Matters, wrestling fans. Welcome back to the final part of the Wrestling Matters podcast. Now I'm going to talk about CM Punk. CM Punk reportedly going to TNA. Yeah. Now, according to the Bleacher Report, TNA reportedly reached out to CM Punk to lure him into having an interest in joining the company. It shouldn't come as a major surprise, quite frankly. I mean, despite the fact people say he's done with wrestling or whatever, he's wrestling's free agent. Nonetheless, people say he's retired. There's a lot of people, I mean, I think he's even said it himself, he's done with wrestling. But this, to me, is kind of reminiscent to what WCW did back in the early 90s. Hulk Hogan said he was done with wrestling. He left WWE about 93 after coming back for a year, another run. He was the WWE champion. He lost the championship to Yokozuna and then said he was done with wrestling. That was until WCW came in and made him an offer, and he went and joined WCW in 94. Right? This is like, you know, playing the part of WCW is TNA, and playing the part of Hulk Hogan is CM Punk, so to speak. Will he join? No, because he's expressed no interest in working in pro wrestling again, so maybe TNA didn't get the memo or didn't get the the letter or whatever, but it made no difference to anyway. CM Punk is done with wrestling. I wish he wasn't done with wrestling. I wish he'd come back to WWE, because boy do WWE need him, despite the fact they've got Dean Ambrose and that. Yeah, we just have to wait and see. I mean, you never say never. I could be saying this to you guys right now and saying, oh, CM Punk is done with wrestling, and about, say, I don't know, a month later he could be joining them. I mean, you never say never in the world of professional wrestling. I mean, I never thought Hulk Hogan would wrestle again, but he did, SummerSlam and the backlash after WrestleMania when he got inducted into the Hall of Fame and that. So we'll just have to wait and see. But at the moment right now, don't expect CM Punk to join TNA ever. Now, for those of you that don't know, CM Punk did work for TNA 2003-2004 time. Okay, so I would probably think, he's been there, done that, he's worked in TNA, why would he go back, kind of thing. And plus, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but if I remember correctly, when CM Punk was on top of the world in WWE, didn't he have a Twitter spat with Kurt Angle about TNA? Because apparently he said TNA was the minor leagues to WWE, and Kurt Angle didn't take too kindly to it and that. So you think he's going to go to so you think he's going to go to TNA after saying all them things? I mean, Jesus. Like I say, you never say never, but I don't think CM Punk, will join TNA. I can't see it happen, ever. Now, it has also been reported that Kurt Angle wants a part-time deal with WWE. Now, WWE officials have had conversation with Kurt Angle about returning to the sports entertainment organization. Sources within the company told PW Insider he is currently a free agent as his contract with TNA recently expired, and he wants to join the part-time crew, so to speak. I wouldn't mind seeing him back in the company on a part-time basis. Question is, what would you do with him? Because that's for WWE to find out. All this rumours going around, ladies and gentlemen, about Stone Cold making it crystal clear that he wants to return to the company, wants to return to wrestling, he wants to make his return to WWE. There's a lot of these rumours going around, and he made comments about this during his podcast. I bet there's one guy that wants him to come back, and that's John Cena, because I think John Cena's made it clear, and he even made it clear when he was running, he did the first season with Austin as host of Tough Enough, that he wants to get in the ring with Stone Cold. He wants to work with Stone Cold, so I can't wait for that. Chris Jericho, or Y2J, the host of Talk is Jericho, the podcast. Make sure you check that out. He's apparently rescheduled to return to the company during the overseas tour in November. So when WWE comes overseas, probably to the UK in November, Y2J will be returning to the company. Also this week, I found out via the TNA website that TNA have signed their first and probably professional wrestling's first. Actually, no, that's a lie. But TNA have said their first Indian wrestler. I'm not even going to pronounce his name. I will leave a link in the description on YouTube because I'm not even going to try and pronounce his name. But yeah, he is signed for TNA, and like I said, I'll leave the article in the description on YouTube and wherever else you can see the article. Because I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce his name. So, but it should be interesting to see what they do with him. And there's a schedule also for TNA to be on Sony 6. TNA Impact Wrestling 9 till 11 on Monday. TNA's Greatest Matches 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. on Tuesday. TNA Explosion 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. on Wednesday, followed by TNA's Greatest Matches 10 p.m. to 11 p.m. Like I said, I'll leave the article in the description and a link and everything underneath so you can see for yourself, but I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce his name because I know I'd mess it up. And I've also recently talked about the Michael Elgin incident earlier on. Michael Elgin is no longer a part of Ring of Honor. And finally, there's a possibility that Hulk Hogan and Sting could both wrestle their last matches at WrestleMania 31. Hogan has still been pushing for a match against John Cena next year, and if he could pass a physical, Hogan may wrestle his retirement match. Cena's WrestleMania 31 match may be locked in already, but they could always come up with something else for Hogan. Sting has indicated that he is looking to do one more match as well. Hogan and Sting both wrestled their last matches, could be a big sell for WrestleMania's tickets, and buys Hogan almost 61 at the time, and Sting turns 56. Bloody hell, Sting's 56, I didn't realize that. The week of the show, it's a long shot, but possible, although both likely wouldn't be branded as retirement matches. So Hogan's still pushing for that match with Cena, and God knows who Sting will be wrestling. But yeah, you're interested to see what happens. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that is episode 28 of the Wrestling Matters podcast. I am your host, that H, that E to the H to the D. Now, next week, if you're expecting another audio of Monday Night Raw, you'd be probably disappointed, because next week I have got Tim Vicious, host of Vicious Rants on YouTube. Make sure you check that out. And the Irish commodity herself, the sweet Irish lass that is Vicky Earls. She's returning to the show, this time for a longer stay, because she's going to join Tim and talk to me and talk with me about Raw. So we're going to have some fun. We're going to sit down, relax, and give our views and opinions, and just basically just tell it like it is, like we always do on this program, on this podcast. It's a beautiful thing. So episode 28 is over. Until next time, peace out.